My name's Lynette Russell. I'm a professor from Monash University's Monash Indigenous Centre. My favourite book is Herman Melville's Moby Dick. Moby Dick was written in 1851 and it was surprisingly a complete flop. It wasn't until the early 20th century that it was resurrected and recognised for the great masterpiece that it is. I think of it as an epic poem where I can read a sentence, a paragraph or a chapter. It's also important to me that it was written in 1851 because in 1851 in Melbourne there were only 80,000 people living here. But by 1855 there were over 300,000 people because what happened was in 1851 gold was discovered and there became a great mining boom. And in many ways what Melville's writing about is something similar, the whaling industry boom. I'm going to read chapter 11 called The Nightgown. We had lain thus in bed, chatting and napping at short intervals, and Queequeg now and then affectionately throwing his brown tattooed legs over mine and then drawing them back. So entirely sociable and free and easy were we, when at last by reason of our confabulations what little nappishness remained in us altogether departed, and we felt like getting up again, though daybreak was yet some way down the future. Yes, we became very wakeful, so much so that our recumbent position began to grow wearisome, and little by little we found ourselves sitting up, the clothes well tucked around us, leaning against the headboard with our 4 knees drawn up close together and our 2 noses bending over them, as if our knee pans were warming pans. We felt nice and snug, the more so since it was so chilly out of doors, indeed out of bedclothes too, seeing that there was no fire in the room. The more so, I say, because truly to enjoy bodily warmth, some small part of you must be cold, for there is no quality in this world that is not what it is merely by contrast. Nothing exists in itself. If you flatter yourself that you are all over comfortable and have been for some long time, then you cannot be said to be comfortable any more. But if, like Queequeg and me in the bed, the tip of your nose or the crown of your head be slightly chilled, why then indeed in the general consciousness you feel most delightfully and unmistakably warm. For this reason, a sleeping apartment should never be furnished with a fire, which is one of the luxurious discomforts of the rich. For the height of this sort of deliciousness is to have nothing but the blanket between you and your snugness and the cold of the outer air, and there you lie like the one warm spark in the heart of an Arctic crystal. We'd been sitting in this crouching manner for some time, when all at once I thought I would open my eyes, for when between sheets, whether by night or by day, whether asleep or awake, I have a way of always keeping my eyes shut in order more to concentrate on the snugness of being in bed. Because no man can ever feel his own identity aright, except his eyes be closed, as if darkness were indeed the proper element of our senses, though light be more congenial to our clayey part. Upon opening my eyes then, and coming out of my own pleasant self-created darkness to the imposed and coarse outer gloom of the unilluminated 12 o'clock night, I experienced a disagreeable revulsion. Nor did I at all object to the hint of Queequeg that perhaps it were best to strike a light, seeing that we were so wide awake, and besides he felt a strong desire to have a few quiet puffs from his tomahawk. Be it said that though I had felt such a strong repugnance to his smoking in bed the night before, yet see how elastic our stiff prejudices grow when love comes to bend them. For now I liked nothing better than to have Queequeg smoking by me, even in bed, because he seemed full of such serene household joy then. I no more felt unduly concerned for the landlord's policy of insurance. I was only alive to the condensed confidential comfortableness of sharing a pipe and a blanket with a real friend. With our shaggy jackets drawn about our shoulders, we passed the tomahawk from one to the other, till slowly there grew over us a blue hanging tester of smoke, illuminated by the fire of the newly lit lamp. Whether it was this undulating tester rolled the savage away to the far distant scenes, I do not know, but he now spoke of his native island, and eager to hear his history, I begged him to go on and tell it. He gladly complied, though at the time I but ill comprehended not a few words of his, yet subsequent disclosures when I had become more familiar with his broken phraseology now enable me to present the whole story, such as it may prove in the mere skeleton I give.